What if your so called laziness was actually your body's last line of defense against burnout? If you've got a to do list that is longer than your toddler's bedtime stalling tactics, or you start the week motivated, but then by Wednesday, you're like, Lord help me. Or if you're just wondering, like, why can't I get it together? And you have so many things that are on your plate. What if it's not a mindset issue? What if it's not even a time issue? What if it's actually a nervous system issue disguised as procrastination that your body actually knows might be attached to your subconscious success strategy? In this episode, we are asking, what if your laziness is actually a signal from your subconscious mind that you're overloaded, not underperforming? And because your subconscious success strategy is attached to it, what if it's actually setting you up for greater success? When we decode the subconscious signals through NLP, we can shift the shame to strategy, replacing self blame with your own sovereign leadership. Hey there, I'm Kimberly Spencer, founder of crownyourself.com, master mindset coach, subconscious success strategist, visibility and high performance business strategist, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and mom of 3. And I can say that I come from a very long line of the skill set of burning out more than once, from building my business to multiple six figures, to having a newborn, to burning 85% of my business down last year. I learned the hard way that burnout is not a badge of honor. It is actually broken down boundaries and belief systems that you get to recalibrate and alchemize into a new identity. I have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs over the past 9 years shift their subconscious to their own unique subconscious success, shift their subconscious beliefs, define their own unique subconscious success strategy, and scale to multiple millions.
Before we dive in, let me tell you about the book that started a podcasting revolution, Make Every Podcast Want You. It is not just a bestseller, it is a 2-time gold medalist, baby. This book is your ultimate guide to landing dream podcast interviews, building authority authentically, and making your voice the one they remember. If you've got a message and a mission, this is your mic drop moment. Grab your copy today in the link below and step into the spotlight that you were born for.
Welcome to the Crown Yourself podcast, where we help visionaries, leaders, and heart-led entrepreneurs rise, reign, and step into their purpose. So if you're ready to ditch the shame spiral about how you're not doing enough and build a burnout-proof business that actually sustains and nourishes you, then stay on this episode. Hit the button to subscribe, because only 25% of y'all listening are actually subscribed. Hit the button to subscribe so you never miss an episode of reigniting your sovereign leadership strategy. So 9 months ago, I just had a baby. And it was a baby girl. I have 2 boys and a baby girl. And I have never had moments where I questioned my purpose, where I questioned having a business. And I was in this portal of examining, because with my pregnancy with my daughter, I was tired. I was borderline anemic. I had gone through a massive pivot of our sister business, Communication Queens, from a done for you podcast guesting agency to a consultative visibility agency to a visibility consulting agency. And that pivot, plus letting go of 85% of my team, plus being pregnant, plus having just come out with the bestseller award-winning book, I was tired. And in that maternity portal, and it is a portal, I was there and looking at my daughter, questioning, who do I get to be for her? Not what do I want to do with my life? Because I looked at this beautiful baby girl and I was like, that's what I want to do with my life. I want to be an amazing mom. I want to be an amazing role model. But I questioned, who do I want? What do I want to role model? Who do I want to be for her? And I looked at the businesses that I've built, and I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. My first business was a freelance Pilates business that turned into a brick and mortar Pilates studio. My second was being president of an e-com company for 2 years. I had a successful exit and was bought out of that. And then came Crown Yourself Coaching that I've had for 9 years. And then Communication Queens. And I was looking at the two businesses that we're currently running right now and that were, quite frankly, running me. And I looked at the models of what do I love doing and what are the things that I need more support with. And it wasn't that I wanted to throw in the towel with everything. It was that I actually needed to elevate my role again from being in the tactician seat to leaning into only the spaces that are my zone of genius in client delivery and client service and in front facing visibility. When I looked at my baby girl, I realized that it wasn't laziness calling me to shrink. It was actually a call to expand. It was overload of the role that I was operating in as an operator in my business. And I actually needed to shift and pivot out of that freeze mode that my nervous system was in because no amount of pushing was going to help. I couldn't push my way out of it. Just like when you're giving birth to a baby, you don't want to push too soon when you just start having contractions. You don't want to push when you're only dilated 1 centimeter. That would not be good. So I had to look at what my nervous system was actually able to contain. What the problem was is that it was in overload, not just of work, but of expectation. And what happens is when you're on the borderline of burnout, your nervous system is actually in a fight, flight, and freeze space. Most people who think that they're lazy, I guarantee you, as a high performer, you're probably running circles around other people. But if you're labeling yourself as lazy because you can't get the impossibility of your entire list done, then this is just a protective response to keep you in safety in a space of freeze. It's a biological hardwiring of your nervous system because just like animals, when they like I live in the country and when you're driving up and there's a deer in the middle of the road, it looks at you. It doesn't try to run away. Sometimes it runs away, but sometimes it just looks at you and freezes. And that's what our biology is made to do is fight, flight, or freeze. And when your nervous system locks up, it's not laziness. It's a protective response, not a productivity problem. So to use NLP, if the real problem isn't actually your lack of action, but your excess of expectations, what are the expectations that you have that are legitimate limitations? And this was something that I loved from Ed Milet's book, The Power of One More, is he said, look at what is actually an excuse versus actually what is a legitimate limitation. And one of the legitimate limitations was personally, there were so many things to do around the house that with having a newborn and making sure that things were clean so that if I put her on the floor, she wasn't going to put something in her mouth, or going through her clothes and making sure that she's in the right size because she was just growing so dang fast. I had to look at what my expectations of being this mom were, as well as being a business owner. And when I started to strip away some of the expectations, I didn't do it by just chucking them because I couldn't just not have a clean house. I did them by delegating them out. So I hired a housekeeper, I hired a mother's helper, I hired an organizational team to come in and help me build more systems to support the expansion. Because what happens in burnout, right before that burnout, and I can literally feel it in my body when I'm feeling almost overloaded. It's kind of like when you hit the thing at the arcade. My boys love this game, and you hit it and it goes all the way up and you're trying to like ring the bell. Well, that game, when it's almost there. It's almost ringing the bell. The bell, when you hit the bell, that's the burnout bell. You don't want to hit the bell actually. If your meter is going so high up, then what we have to do is actually look at what system. And so I've actually trained my body now to, when I feel those moments of overwhelm and a story that then gets translated into my nervous system, what I do is I then go, what system needs to be built? Obviously, there's something in the system that's not working. So what we did just recently was I hired a sales setter for our Communication Queens agency. I said, great. Okay. What system needs to be built that because lead flow, top of the funnel lead flow was not flowing and it was flowing, but then it was flowing and I was getting stuck into delivery, which is the space that I love to play, not necessarily in the initial beginning interactions. I love to play with the connections of and relationships of people. And when I looked at the system of like, well, as a business, you do need lead flow. You do need top of the funnel people coming in. So I said, what system needs to be built? And I was like, well, the system needs to be built is a system of sales setting, of getting people to come in the door. And so we doubled down on our podcasting system, our podcast guesting strategy, and our podcasting system for the Communication Queen podcast. And we looked at hiring a sales setter. And so I brought in a sales setter for a test of 4 weeks. She's currently still in that role. And that helped free up the space so that I'm not overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, are we meeting our numbers with being able to generate people coming into our funnel, being able to generate clients coming into our authority asset audits? I was actually able to see, okay, this is something that somebody else can solve for me. And I'm building a system around it to support me, because the expectation before was that I had to do it myself. And as soon as you meet yourself where that expectation is, that's where we say, okay, what do I need to simplify? What do I need to structure? And where do I need to give myself self permission? So simplify. We need to reduce the inputs. What are the things that need to be reduced or taken off your plate and put onto somebody else's? Reduced, simplified, delegated to somebody else. That is the word of 2026 for me, is how can we keep things simple? Albert Einstein said, genius is making complex ideas simple, not making simple ideas complex. And he also said, with a wise old Al, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. So we want to simplify the business. We want to simplify your offers, simplify the strategies that you're using, and dial it into what's actually working, and then move the needle from there. And so when you feel it in your body, 'cause overwhelm is it's not only a mindset story, it's a somatic experience. So first we want to look at, what do you get to simplify? What's the focus for this week? What's the one focus? And then one of the strategies that I started implementing, which was from one of our podcast guests, if you go and listen to Lloyd Ross, who wrote the book Becoming Time Rich, he talks about in that book a strategy that skyrocketed multiple companies. And it is where you take your entire gigantic to-do list and you boil it down to just 6 main things. Just 6. And then you do this every night. You go through your 6 and you go through and organize them in a hierarchy of what needs to get done that's most important, period, bar none. Get that done first thing tomorrow. So then you already have your subconscious mind working in dream time overnight on the list on how it can simplify. Something else I like to add to that is asking my subconscious mind a question. Because remember, the conscious mind is the goal setter. The subconscious mind is the goal getter. And so I asked my subconscious mind the question, looking at this list in my dream time, please create the path that will make this as simple as possible to get all of these done. And sometimes I get 3 done. Sometimes I get all 6 done. But ultimately, I'm setting the intention and going through, and I create a practice, which is a system. It's a new habit. That's all habits are, of managing the expectations for what I need to get done for the next day. And that in and of itself, combined with asking my subconscious mind the question before I go to sleep, allows me to simplify a lot more. And then I stick to the plan. The hardest thing, especially as a mompreneur, because you will be interrupted, you will have things that may require you to be flexible. But for example, today I was a little overloaded. I was tired. Reagan did not sleep well last night. And I had my 2 things were to go through and record these podcasts and get these out to you. And this was my main thing. And so we crafted the strategy. That was our one simple task to do for this week. We crafted the strategy. We we prepped the episodes, and today was recording day. Well, what happens today? Reagan does not sleep well. Reagan is a little upset and cranky and fussy all morning, but I still had the plan that my husband was going to take all the kids to their activities. And we said, even though it was hard, even though like everything in me was like, I want to just, oh, I just want to hold her and make her feel better. But even if I held her and made her feel better, it wasn't making her feel better. So I was like, let's just stick to the plan. And it was hard. And it felt like someone was yanking my heart out of my body. And I still stuck to the plan because that's the masculine. And in this moment, the business required the masculine to show up. And that's when I said, this is the one task. And by doing this, it's going to create an exponential return because then I can pass this off to my team and they're going to take care of the rest. But this is my part, my duty, my responsibility right now that I need to respond to. And so once they left, I had a little bit of a cry, let's be honest, and a moment of overwhelm. I let myself feel it in my body and have the release. And then I got down and got to work because then we want to have the structure. And if you know the structure, what I did was I also told my unconscious mind because the unconscious mind can be easily distracted by feelings and circumstances. It's very easily distracted by sensory awareness. And so as a mother, I was seeing my daughter cry. I was seeing her get fussy. I was seeing her want attention and like I was giving it to her, but like even if I was giving it to her, she just wasn't having it. And it was like, oh, it was a whole moment. And I knew I had a certain amount of time. So what I did is I told my subconscious mind, you are going to be spending all afternoon with your daughter and your kids. Like we have tea party planned. We're playing checkout and restaurant together. You're going to be spending all that time with your kids. This is the time to get it done right now. That's it. And so I built in the structure and I trusted the structure that my husband would be able to handle it. And that's hard. It's hard when you got to pass off your babies. Like hard sometimes, a lot. But that trust came and I was able to build that structure. And then the second thing was self-permission. And this one was the hardest one for me recently, like just today, was replacing I should with I choose to regain my power. And the shoulds were all the fears of I'm a bad mom, of I shouldn't be doing this, or I should have all of those shoulds came into play. And I was like, okay, is that ultimately true? Fuck no. No, I'm an amazing mom. Like I love being a mom. My kids get a ton of attention. Like we are engaged as parents. I choose this time that I set aside intentionally a week in advance to film and record and to do this activity to support my business and to bring value and to support you in your growth and to support and sustain my mission. I'm choosing my mission right now. And I'm choosing that to also show my kids that sometimes it's going to feel hard. Sometimes you're not going to want to do it. And you just sometimes have to do it. So a pattern interrupt that you can use is cancel, clear. And so when you feel that shame spiral come up, because this is an old pattern of shame popping up still. And I'm like being totally transparent right now. Old pattern of shame, the old fears of being a bad mom, the old fears of the motherhood being put on the back burner for business. I'm like, no. Is that story ultimately true? No, it's not. And so I let myself feel it in my body. I let my body have the moment and the hug that she needed to have of like, your daughter's okay. Your kids are okay. They are safe. They're happy. I just got a video from my husband of like them having a great time at their activities. And I was like, okay, they're safe. They're happy. They're good. They are good. And I get to be good too. And now let's get to fucking work. Let's do it. And what I had in the back of my mind was actually Queen, like Freddie Mercury's "The Show Must Go On." That was playing. Regularly, Queen will come into my mind, especially because my motto, one of my fun reframes that I regularly use is if Freddie Mercury can perform at Live Aid in front of thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people while having HIV and AIDS, you can do whatever. You can do it too. And so really stepping into that level of power and saying, even though there's all these feelings in me right now, I'm still going to stick to that plan, the masculine that I had in place. And I'm going to face my ego and say, hey, ego, you're not going to win today. I'm playing with my kids later. But we're going to fulfill the purpose right now. And that this is what I'm doing every day, every week inside of the collective. And if this episode is like, oh my gosh, I do that too. Oh my gosh, I need some more of that courageous action taking in my life. I need someone to just hold me accountable to like get the shit done that I said that I was going to get done, and a community that's going to hold me and support me and see me in the process and say, yeah, we get that it's hard. We get that you didn't want to do it. And we're celebrating the fact that you did it fucking anyways. Then that is what the collective is for. Every week, you're getting audio activations from me. Every month, you're getting Queen Bee coaching from me on your mindset, your skill set, your systems, your branding, your marketing, your sales, your vision, your people, your data. We're growing what your business is and the holistic success so that it's not coming at the sacrifice of your family. And it's also not coming at the sacrifice of a story that you're telling yourself about who you are and what you're doing and what you came to this world for. So if this is lighting your fire, if you're like, yes, Queen, I need more of this, click down below and jump into the collective for just $111 per month, monthly coaching, regular coaching inside the group, not just from me, but from our amazing members who are also in the community with you, who are 6-7 figure business owners. So we have some that are amazing best-selling authors and speakers. So get your booty in if this is activating you. And if you're like, oh my gosh, this episode was exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you for saying that I'm not lazy. Thank you for helping me prevent burnout. Then make sure you hit the subscribe button and that you are subscribed to the Crown Yourself podcast for regular weekly episodes. We do drop these every Tuesday, every Thursday, and we show up so that you can really lean into creating that life of purpose that you are meant to lead. As always, my fellow sovereigns, own your throne, mind your business because your reign is now.